This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by CVS Health.
I'm Peter King. Providence Mayor Brett Smiley says he's inspired after his visits with hospitalized survivors from the Brown University shootings.
The resilience that these survivors showed and shared with me is frankly pretty overwhelming.
A person of interest has been arrested. That happened overnight at an area hotel. Police say he had 2 weapons but was taken into custody without resistance. Here's WPRI TV's Alexandria Leslie.
This is just 25 miles or so away from where the shooting happened in Providence, and we learned a short time ago that police said that they had a search warrant signed, and we've seen more Providence police officers on the way here to the hotel. We've had crews here for hours where we have seen teams of law enforcement from Coventry, Providence, and the FBI coming in and out of this hotel.
President Trump has expressed condolences for the 2 people killed and has sent get well messages during a White House appearance for the 9 people who were hurt. In Bondi Beach, Australia, the death toll has risen to 15 after last night's mass shooting at a Hanukkah celebration.
I must have heard, I don't know, maybe like 40, 50 shots.
The attackers wounded more than 25 people. President Anthony Albanese.
An attack on Jewish Australians is an attack on every Australian.
And police have just said the gunmen were father and son. The father was killed, the son critically wounded. President Trump spoke about that attack and more during a White House Christmas celebration.
I just want to pay my respects to everybody. I must say in Syria also, we had an attack in Syria, and we had 3 great patriots terminated by bad people.
If you're looking for snow, go east. If you're looking for cold, head north. National Weather Service meteorologist Brian Hurley.
The heart of the cold air is really felt across the Midwest and Ohio Valley today. Temperatures not getting out of the teens for a lot of these areas. Probably not even getting out of the single digits if you're in portions of Illinois and Iowa.
Duluth, Minnesota, barely above 0 with a wind chill of 13 below, and farther west.
I'm Heather Bosch in Seattle. Another atmospheric river is forecast to move into western Washington state Sunday, bringing heavy rain over the next few days. It's not expected to be as severe as last week's weather system, which caused multiple rivers to crest at record levels. Those rivers are starting to recede, but they're still running high, so emergency managers say we should expect more flooding. The Skagit River north of me may not fall below flood stage until late this week.
Heather Bosch waiting for the rain in Seattle. This is CBS News.
Through trusted relationships and national reach, CVS Health is uniquely positioned to simplify care. Learn more at cvshealth.com/Investor Day.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron,
All right, so here's the thing, right? I have the next big thing in sports broadcasting here, and I have the next big thing in books about baseball. And you're still stuck with me. So I don't know if that's a trade-off that's good and bad. It's like I gave you the good news first and then the bad news. Either way, I got 2 wonderful guests here that will be joining me. I'm going to go to Robby first, and then I'm going to go to Charlie. Robby, introduce yourself and introduce that lovely book you had.
You know, Lenny,
First
of all, I cannot thank you enough for having me here with my buddy, Robby Ince-Mikowski, former Pirates announcer. I'm sure that listeners at KDKA probably have heard a bit too much of me talking about this book, but I appreciate that. One of the things I've been very fortunate in my position, spending 11 years as a TV reporter for the Pirates, is to have a platform to do other things. One of those other things was to do this book. That is my own personal project. But the thing that I'm really, really proud of is my association with the St. Anthony Schools. 6 years now I've been hosting their annual Holly Jolly Christmas party, and I get to meet some wonderful kids. It's a school for special needs kids who aspire to do things that people who don't have special needs do. And Charlie Osborne, who we're going to hear from, is one of those kids, and he's fantastic. And of course, he's near and dear to my heart, not only because he's a great kid, but because he wants to be a broadcaster. So we'll talk more to him in a minute. But
you mean he's going to be a broadcaster?
He's talented.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
He knows what's up. So I got this book here that I wrote. Actually, this one is. So I have a few promotional copies left here, and I'm going to leave this for Pat Septak, who works here during the week. He was kind enough to support this project, but it's called Sacred Grounds. So I don't know how well you can see this on the camera, but I decided, Len, when my career was over, which was 2 years yesterday, when Nesson came in and took over the Pirates broadcast and ran me out of the job, and I had all this relationship capital that had been built over 16 years. So I called a bunch of people associated with all 30 ballparks, given that I had taken photos of all 30 ballparks amongst my travels when I was there. Just go to work, a little bit early, and walk around an empty ballpark, sometimes a half full, sometimes a jam-packed ballpark. Some great pictures. So we put some great photography in there. We got kind of the story behind the story of big moments that have taken place in each of the 30 big league ballparks. We did count Oakland as a ballpark, so for the record, they played this year in Sacramento like they will do the next 2 years.
But it's the Oakland A's.
Before it's still the Oakland A's. I mean, I don't know who's going to remember them as anything but the Oakland A's. So we have stories from every ballpark in there, just anecdotes from each place, just what the experience is like or what the just a big moment that happened. In San Francisco when Barry Bonds set the home run record, I interviewed the pitcher that gave up that home run.
Wow.
When Cal Ripken set Major League Baseball's record for consecutive games played, 21-31 was a famous number.
Yep.
When he beat Lou Gehrig's record, I interviewed the guy, Jeff Hewson, who played third base next to him that night. In the starting lineup with him, stood 30, 40 feet away from Cal the entire night, and got his perspective. So it's what I did on television. My TV hits, humanizing people, Len. People hear you and might know your story, might know what you do for a living, but a lot of people don't know your background.
The story behind the story.
Everybody has a story. Everybody does, and you know it. You work in radio, TV. You know what's up.
Do it all the time, and we're gonna come back and have you on to get into that book because I had a chance to see it. I had a chance to skim through it. I've had a chance to look at some of the stories. So I'm gonna give that justice.
Okay.
In due time.
I appreciate that.
But we're gonna riff with Charlie Osborne for the rest of this hour. So, Charlie, I want you to introduce yourself, and then we're going to dive into our conversation, sir.
I'm Charlie Osborne, currently a sophomore at Duquesne University in the Compass program, and I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Well, I appreciate it first and foremost. So, I'm going to ask you the first question, and then you can ask. Look, so here are the ground rules. We're going to have a little bit of fun. It's going to be a little different than regular radio, except it's kind of like TV because we're on cameras, but it's also radio.
Yeah.
That said, I get to ask questions. You all get to ask questions. So even if I ask you a question, Charlie, you can ask me a question right back, and we go back and forth. Is that cool with everybody?
Yes.
First question for you. Want to be a sportscaster. If there was one sport that you really wanted to be that sport for you, is there one? If there's not, that's fine. But if there is one, what sport would that be?
It would probably be baseball because I'm a huge Pirates fan. And because I also play baseball in the Middle League of the South Hills.
Okay. Yeah. So with that said, what is the number one thing? What makes you want to commentate on baseball in particular? Is it the numbers? Is it the pitching? Is it the history? What types of things really float your boat when it comes to thinking about baseball in particular?
I would like to announce the starting lineup for the Pirates. But if not, then I'd be willing to look at other areas of interest.
Okay.
So a little bit unique in that, Charlie, a lot of kids that want to get into broadcasting, Lenny, I'm sure you've met many in your career, he seems to be more fascinated and impressed by public address announcing. I feel like he enjoys that, probably would enjoy that more than radio or TV, but we're still finding out he's only 22 years old. Like most 22-year-olds don't exactly know where they fit in terms of their career and what they might want to pursue. So Charlie's in that stage right now, and that's pretty cool. So he's inspiring. He and I host the St. Anthony's. We'll get into this later, but I don't want to interrupt you. I feel like I'm going.
No. We're here. The three. As long as it's the three of us here together,
for sure.
As long as you don't forget it's my show.
And Charlie, right?
As long as Charlie doesn't forget it's my show, we're good.
Charlie's
over there smiling. He had a plan. I understand that.
Whose show is it, Charlie?
This is all about Lenny.
That is Lenny's show.
See,
Lenny is a
folks
good
don't
man.
realize we talked about this before we came on the air. We laid down some rules. I kind of gave Robbie the look. I gave Charlie the look. We're good.
So
I'm just kidding.
Charlie and I, well, what's funny is he's got a big personality, and I didn't know it right away. So I was asked by Jenny Colbert, who does a great job. She's the daughter, actually, of former Steelers general manager Kevin Colbert. She's the one that does not work in sports, and she has dedicated her career to working at St. Anthony's schools for special needs kids. And she said, I got a kid with a big personality, Charlie Osborne. He's got Down syndrome, and he loves sports. He loves baseball. He loves all that, and he's got a ton of energy. So the first year, he came up and did a couple minutes with me on stage. And now for our third consecutive year, he and I co-host this event that we did. Was it last week, Charlie? Was it last Friday? Was it 9 days ago when we did it? Wasn't it? I think it was. Yeah. You know how much money we raised for that?
Over $1,000.
No, a lot more than 1,000. Multiply that by 100.
What he said.
Yeah. We raised over $100,000 for St. Anthony schools. And that was
great.
Really cool. So anyway, so it's interesting. I love helping out younger kids get into broadcasting because, similar to you, Lenny, I mean, you're a father yourself, obviously, but if people come to you and say, hey, I want to get into broadcasting or I want to pursue politics, you would help guide somebody because your life's work has been in that facet.
And it's that first time of cracking that microphone. So it's interesting because I didn't know that you were a co-MC as well.
Yeah.
Tell me about those experiences. What goes through your mind when you're doing that? Because you're out there and you're in front of folks. You're open. You're just there. And it's like half, this is my dream. I want to do this. But the other half is like, oh crap, I'm actually out here. You've done it for 3 years now. What's been going through your mind? What's that been like over those 3 years for you?
It's been great. It's been helping me get my voice out there, taking a stand on something that's really important to me and how that can go a long way in trying to make others want to become like me, like I want to do.
Dig it. So listen, let me go to a commercial break. Yep. We're going to continue this conversation. The homework for Robbie and Charlie during the commercial break is they got to think of a question that they throw out to the group. Is that fair, Charlie?
Yes.
Is that fair, Robbie?
I love it.
Okay, so they'll come up with a question. I will ignore the question and go talk about whatever I want, but you all will stick around here as we do that here on News Radio, KDKA. All right, class, put your pencils down. I gave you homework. Don't tell me the dog ate it. I'm allergic to dogs. There are no dogs here. So, going to Charlie Osborne with his homework, you were supposed to have a question for us, kind sir. What might that be?
That is correct. The Kansas City Chiefs lost their game today, which knocks them out of playoff contention. When was the last time that has happened before?
Oh, I think they've been in the playoffs maybe almost 10 straight years. Is that about right?
Mahomes has made the playoffs every year.
And he's been in since 2018.
17 or 18, was it? Yeah.
So he started in 2018. So let me ask you this, Charlie. So it's 2018 since Mahomes. First year he started, he went to the AFC Championship game. He lost to the Patriots. He went to the Super Bowl the following year. He went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Robbie doesn't realize that I'm pretty good with sports. You see how I'm listing this off, right? Then from there, they lost to the Bengals in 2021. So he has either been in the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl every year that he started. Let me ask you this. Is this the end of the Chiefs dynasty, Charlie?
It may be, but maybe it's because of seeing Taylor Swift a lot more. And maybe Taylor Swift is bringing them down a little bit.
Well, they won a Super Bowl with Taylor Swift, though, right?
That was last year.
That's
they made a Super Bowl with Taylor.
No, they won a Super Bowl.
Did they win one?
2 years ago, they won it.
Oh, that's
last
right.
Year,
they did. The
last year,
with her and Kelsey.
Yeah,
that's right.
Last year they lost to the Eagles.
That's right.
So does Kelsey retire after this now, though, Charlie?
That's up to him, not up to me.
Okay, but what do you think? Do you think that, I mean, he's going to be 37, 30, 36, 37. He has Taylor Swift. They're engaged, and they're not going into playoffs this year.
Well, they had a good run, and I think it's time to retire on a high note. You have Taylor Swift. You won the championship. I say that's a great book to be written, and a great book that can go a long way.
You're right.
Great.
You
Great story.
You can sell that story. Look, Robby. He's a dude from Cleveland Heights. I think he's from Cleveland Heights.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
crazy?
he was a knucklehead in college. He was a guy that got suspended from the team at Cincinnati. He was a ne'er-do-well that Coach Reed took a chance on, and then he has this Hall of Fame career.
Isn't that amazing? You know what impresses me, Charlie, is Lenny's depth of knowledge. He can talk about everything from politics to the Kansas City Chiefs to parenthood to everything else in between. And he'll debate you on everything, Charlie. We really have to have our facts straight if we're going to go head-to-head with Lenny.
Charlie gave you a look like, no, he won't.
Yeah.
He will not debate me on everything.
I know, right?
So let me ask you this, Charlie. And by the way, you had your question, I have my question. I'm going back to you. After my question, you come back to me. Is that fair? Who is going to end up coming out of the AFC this year based on what you're seeing? The Buffalo Bills came back. They were down 3 touchdowns or 17 points, and they beat New England today in New England. They have a chance of winning the division, even though they're like now at the top playoff wild card spot. Who do you think comes out of the AFC? We're not going to see the Chiefs this year.
I would say the Buffalo Bills because of Josh Allen and his MVP type year he's been having, and other players that are on the team can carry them to the Super Bowl. Because I think the Buffalo Bills will win the Super Bowl this year.
Whoa!
With Josh Allen being the MVP.
Yeah.
Wow!
I think he's going to do it twice in a row.
I do.
He won it last year too.
Who wins? Who goes out of the NFC? So the Bills win the Super Bowl. Who do they play in the Super Bowl and they beat? Who do you think?
Well, not familiar with all the teams in the NFC. I would say the Denver Broncos can give it a good shot.
So they're in the AFC. So that would be an AFC championship
so that's the
game.
AFC championship game. So I'm going to throw out some teams. The Bears, the Chicago Bears, the Detroit Lions. The Packers are actually playing the Broncos right now as we speak. The Seahawks.
Philadelphia Eagles.
The Eagles. I got a Philadelphia in here. Of course, I got to name the Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles. And by the way, they won a Super Bowl last year. I know. No, don't remind me.
I'm not an Eagles fan, so it's okay.
But you're still from Philadelphia. So
I still am. All my family is.
That projection still comes out.
My family's all Eagles fans.
There you go. So you have the Eagles, and then there's one other team I haven't named, which is the LA Rams. What do you think? And then, Robby, I'll go to you.
Yeah.
Either the Seahawks or the LA Rams based on their record. But I lean towards the Rams because it'll mean a lot to them having to deal with the LA Fires.
Well, that is true.
That would be big.
That is true.
So,
and Charlie, I'm glad you brought that up because it's interesting how some of these teams, Robby, acquiesce around the civic stories that are in their communities. It's not that long ago that those fires impacted that community to the point where, to Charlie's point, it impacted their games, where they had to move games or move practices because it's very easy for people to forget that you're an athlete and you saw this up close and personal over your years with the Pirates. Just because you're making millions of dollars playing a sport does not mean that you don't live in a community, you don't shop at the grocery store, you don't drive the same streets.
Yeah, and you've seen, I think we saw a lot of the players and coaches. I want to say Matt Stafford and his wife Kelly, head coach Sean McVay, a bunch of their other players. I want to say they did multiple appearances to help where help was available to be given in the LA community. So that'd certainly be a real nice story. And they are the odds-on favorite right now to win the Super Bowl. I actually just looked earlier today. I think they're like plus 370. So it's like essentially 3.5 to 1 odds for them to win. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they made a run right now. So it's a lot of fun. And I'm enjoying being a fan. I love being able to be a fan from week 1 all the way through the Super Bowl. I'm enjoying this.
Charlie, are you a Steelers fan?
Sometimes.
Okay, so
sometimes why?
Because he's a Pittsburgher. That's how we all.
Sometimes?
That's how.
Why are
that's
you
how.
not a
That's
true
how we
support
all
every
are,
week?
Robby. That's how we all are. Because we watch the games. We know that they win the games they shouldn't win, and they lose the games they shouldn't lose. Am I true or false, Charlie?
That is so true.
Bingo.
No, answer my question. Why are you sometimes a fan?
Because I'm a Pittsburgher.
See, you go. He knows the answer. The answer didn't change just because you got it from me versus him.
I need you to have more faith, Charlie.
I do have faith in the Pirates, not the Steelers.
Now that's
now
a believer.
That is a gutsy statement, Charlie Osborne.
That is a believer.
That's my man.
Right there.
By the way, shout out to Jenny Colbert who is listening, and she said Lenny is fun. She loves listening to you.
It's because you two are here.
Yes. No, I don't know about that.
Tell her to tune in when I have the phone lines open at 866-391-1020 and see what they say, because they don't quite believe the same thing. That's it. Yeah. 24 hours from now. Well, about more like 28 hours from now. Are we complaining about the Steelers losing to a team they shouldn't lose to in 10-degree weather that's from Miami? Or are we saying they're still in first place, Charlie? What do you think?
Well, they're in first place, but not by a wide margin.
Do they win tomorrow night against Miami, who you know hates playing in this weather?
Even though Miami hates playing in this weather, I do think the Steelers will pull it out.
Okay.
But losing T.J. Watt can make a big impact on the game, too. Because Alex Highsmith needs to step it up big time.
That is a very valid point. They're going to have Herbig in there. They will have Highsmith playing. Jack Sawyer will play. He's a rookie. So, again, when it's going to be 10 degrees and a team from Miami, it should be a little different. Listen, I'm going to continue this after the news break. I'm talking to Charlie. I'm talking to Robby. I'm not necessarily talking to you, but we're vibing on my last segment, my last hour before Christmas, and doing our thing here. So stick around after the news. We'll be back on News Radio KDKA. Hey, talking to Charlie, talking to Robby, talking to Lenny. Last segment before Christmas. So I think I'm obligated to say ho, ho, ho. But I'm not saying it a lot because bah humbug. That's it. Charlie, you said you got a sibling that goes to Villanova. I had a sibling that went to Villanova. In fact, my younger brother ran track and field at Villanova. That's kind of cool. So your sibling goes to Villanova? Is it a twin?
Yes, my twin brother, Philip. Woohoo!
Are you older or younger?
I'm old about 1 minute.
And you're better looking, right?
Hello to that.
Bingo! So, that said, does that make you a Villanova fan when it comes to sports, or you just kind of casually follow the Cats?
Well, when Duquesne basketball played at Villanova basketball game, I was at that game sitting behind the Duquesne bench.
Ah.
My brother was rooting for Nova, but I was rooting for Duquesne. Even though they didn't win, I'm still happy with the outcome.
There you go. There you go. That's the way to split it. It's called hedging your bet, right?
Yes.
Which we do not authorize on this station. We are not involved in professional betting in any way. I have to put that disclaimer out there, Charlie, or else I get in trouble. That said, college basketball. You got a chance to go to the game.
Yes.
Are you a big fan of college basketball or not so much?
Oh, I'm a big fan because my favorite team in college basketball is Michigan.
Oh.
And my mom went there, so
hell,
go blue.
And they're rather good this year.
Yeah, they're ranked second in the country. Let's keep it going.
So this means that, are you already projecting them to go to the Final Four? Or are you just going to hold off on that for right now because we're still only in December?
I have no doubt they're going to make it to the Final Four. I believe this is their year to win the championship.
Ooh.
Because they won the football championship,
yes.
Why not make it a basketball championship?
You know what? The bottom line is Michigan's a football school, Robby.
Yeah.
But
they're under it a little bit right now,
but,
to say the least.
But it's all right. They are not that far away from winning a national championship, to Charlie's point. But Michigan does have a way of getting behind their basketball program when the time is right.
Big time. Big time. Charlie wasn't born yet, but man, if he could ever learn about the Fab
Five. We were around for that. But you said you had a question for Charlie. You put him on the spot. You gave him that look. You said, Charlie, I got a question for you. And Charlie said, bring it.
I did. And I like talking about the lighthearted stuff, but what I love, part of what I enjoy doing here, Lenny, is letting Charlie tell his own story, right? And
let's do that.
He wants to be a trailblazer. He's at the program at Duquesne, obviously why he's a big Duquesne Hoops fan. And Duquesne football, I would hope as well, because we got a lot of solid Duquesne football alums here in Pittsburgh,
including our long snapper
Christian Kuntz, John Masalero up in Mount Washington, Richie Chupka is a big Duquesne, played football at Duquesne, Richie Pickaninny, a lot of these guys, man, a lot of these guys I've gotten to know in Pittsburgh are wonderful people. But what I really admire, Lenny, and I think you would admire this too about a guy like Charlie, who is now 22 years old and can slug a beer here and there too, which I have done with him a couple times.
You're going to say that in front of his parents?
Well, he's a grown adult.
Oh, my gosh.
He's a
But
grown
still,
adult,
they're
right, Charlie?
sitting right here.
Charlie, you can slug a few beers, dude. You're legal. It's okay.
One and done is what I say.
Bingo. See, he has to hedge his bets and be safe.
Right.
You put him on the spot.
You know what? What I really admire about Charlie is how he wants to be a trailblazer. You know, you don't see many people with Down syndrome as announcers, and Charlie is going to be one. And this is not just a rah, oh, no. I promise you, with his personality and his work ethic and the way he was raised.
And his knowledge, look, he is showing that he understands the sport, and I'm going to commend you on this, and I'm not trying to embarrass you, but the bottom line is, anybody, Charlie, that is willing to get in front of a microphone and talk, it takes a certain level of courage. Down syndrome or not.
Yeah.
If you're willing to get in front of a microphone, I'm going to hand it back to you in a second, Robby. If you're willing to get in front of a microphone and talk to the masses about your opinion and your perspectives, that takes a unique level of courage. And I hat tip you and commend you, sir, for that. Go ahead, Robby.
Yeah, and the point is, you know, a lot of people would see that and you know, maybe talk to Charlie differently or treat him differently, and nobody should, because he's a 22-year-old kid like anybody else. And which
is why he can slug a beer.
Right, exactly. And he was on the morning show with Larry and I, about a month ago. We were promoting the event, and he was a little, I don't want to say nervous, but he just wasn't his normal personality. And I'm not saying it to make fun of Charlie. Every 22-year-old that gets in front of a mic is going to have the same issue. They're not comfortable. They're in a new surrounding.
Well, the reason why he was nervous is because you walked in and he was just fine, and then he saw me, and it made everybody get nervous because that's just the effect I have on people.
But my point is now you see his true personality stand by. So that leads me to my question to you, Charlie, and you're a good friend of mine, so I can just talk to you like a normal dude. You want to be a trailblazer. Why is that? And what example do you hope to set for other kids with Down syndrome that aspire to do certain things in their lives?
Well, that is a good question, Robby.
I did it for 16 years as a baseball announcer. You know why? I ask good questions, Charlie. That's why.
I believe it.
No, but what do you take? Why do you want to be a trailblazer for everybody else, Charlie?
Because I would like to make a difference in many people's lives and helping them achieve their fullest potential of what they can do. And it can help Down syndrome or not. Everyone should be capable of doing what they want to do. That way he can see the able, not the label.
Right, no doubt. Now, let me ask you this. Let me just follow up on that. It takes courage to do that. So it's not an easy thing for you to just step up there and put yourself out there, right? So what makes you be able to do this? Like obviously your personality is natural. You're a funny dude. I know you. I know your parents. You're an entertaining guy, but to do this is something that is really hard to do. Where did you get the courage, and what made you want to do this?
Well, my dream job was to be a public address announcer with the Pirates, so I thought, hey, let's go for it. Let's see what I can do.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, look, the ability that you're showing to dive into it and stick with it. And again, people will say, well, that's amazing because, he has Down syndrome.
That's what I'm saying.
But fully Magooey on that. To Robby's point.
That's exactly right.
22-year-olds change their minds on their careers like they change their socks. That's just the real. You're showing a level of commitment to this that oftentimes makes the difference between succeeding and failing. And that's the reason why Robby brings it up and wants others to hear it here on News Radio KDKA, because that matters. And so, number one, you need to take stock in that. You need to take pride in you doing that. But on top of that, even when things go awry, even when you don't feel like you've done the right thing, even if you go on the air and you blotch a word, you got to be able to give yourself grace to go to the next segment. Robby's been in front of 30,000 people and mispronounced a person's name. I've been on here and probably have done like 10 mistakes since 2 o'clock this afternoon. True story. That happens. The fact that you're diving into the deep end and doing it, man, that is really, really cool. So I commend you for that, and so does Robby.
Yeah.
You're like, thank you for my flowers.
Yeah.
No, let's go back to sports. So we haven't talked about baseball. So let's go talk about baseball with a little bit of time left that we have. I'm going to ask a Pirates question. that fair?
I'm ready. Bring it on.
I'll say let's ask this. Will the Pirates spend a significant amount of money in this offseason to field a more competitive team? What say you, Charlie Osborne?
I say they should build a team around Paul Skeens, who is their best player and I have got to meet. He was a great guy, a great player, and I think, per reference, the Pirates will make it to the World Series this year and win the whole thing.
The World Series?
So,
that's a gutsy prediction.
Well, it's a gutsy prediction, and so you're basically telling me, Charlie, that you think that they're going to spend more money, get more talent, and find lightning in a bottle. And people that will sit there and say, Charlie's saying they're going to go to the World Series. People forget the Kansas City Royals came out of nowhere.
2014, 2015.
The Tampa Bay Rays have from time to time come out of nowhere. So it's not crazy with what Charlie's saying. I mean, Robby, your book highlights this. These magic moments that happen, they're magical in many ways because nobody expected them to happen when they did.
One of the stories in my book is with Drew Butera, who was a career backup catcher. He caught the final out of the 2015 World Series, which was a strikeout. And we talk about the story behind the story, Lenny, which you are well aware working in the business. What is it like to catch the final strikeout, the final ball of a World Series? How do you describe that feeling when a guy strikes out and your team wins it all? So, yeah, you talk about the Kansas City Royals. I have a story about them winning the World Series from that angle in my book, Sacred Ground. Sorry, I just jammed in a promo there.
No, that's okay. That's why we're here. And Charlie.
But, yeah, the Pirates, look.
But it's not just the Pirates. I mean, people will say that, and Charlie, you can chime in on this. I mean, we not only saw the Royals win a World Series, but we saw two things that we thought we would never see in our lifetimes. And you're a baseball guy, so you'll understand this 100%. We saw the Boston Red Sox win a World Series.
Yep.
And we saw the Chicago Cubs win a World Series.
Yeah.
If that can happen, right?
Crazy things can happen. If those teams and the underrated teams can do it, so can the Pirates.
Exactly.
And Paul Skeens is the best pitcher in the world.
No doubt.
There's nobody better than him on planet Earth right now. And I think he's going to win the Cy Young next year. That's my honest opinion. I think he's going to win 2 in a row.
Well, I think that, and then on top of that, Charlie, you can comment on this. The Pirates pitching has been good. And Jared Jones is hurt. He's going to eventually, he might not come back next year, but he's going to eventually come back soon enough.
After the All-Star break, I think there's a chance he's
back. And if he
comes
back after the All-Star break, look, people forget, and this is a little bit before your time, but you're a historian, you'll remember this. The Atlanta Braves also came out of no place in the early 1990s, but they had hosses that could pitch. So they had a pitching staff around a team that slowly built themselves up, and by 1995, they were winning a World Series. Again, Charlie, to your point, I'm going to hand it over to you, then to Robby. Why not the Pirates?
Just imagine what it would be like when Pirates fans see Paul Skeens in a World Series game. When does that get a chance to happen? Once in a blue moon? Well, let's make it a reality. Let's make it a dream come true for Skeens and a big championship.
And
That'd be amazing.
To that point, Robby, and I know we got to get out of here shortly.
Yeah.
To that point, you might have a transformative generational player that actually, unlike, not to bash on Barry Bonds, unlike Bobby Bonilla, that wanted to be here. It sounds like Skeens wants to be here, but under the right conditions. Those are the type of things that break that glass ceiling and make a different type of difference.
And what I think he is doing is, I don't have any inside information, but I'm just going to offer my opinion of people that have spent time around Paul Skeens and talk about how unbelievable he is and how driven he is, what his work ethic is like between starts, on how he drives other guys to be better on that rotation, other guys in that clubhouse. Obviously, hitters are hitters and pitchers are pitchers, but that guy, everything I've heard is that guy does whatever it takes to win, to do as much as he can to win. This is just my guess. I cannot say this for a fact. My guess is Skeens, he's won a Rookie of the Year, he's won a Cy Young. I would not be surprised he walks into Donnie Kelly, Ben Cherington, Travis Williams, Bob Nutting's office, collectively, individually, however you want to put it, and he goes, look, we have a chance to do this, and he will not accept anything less than the best effort. Now, the whole spending thing is a valid point, but had they drafted a little bit better, developed a little bit better, they might not have to go reach elsewhere.
They would be there now.
They would be, imagine if certain guys had, I'm not calling anybody out by name, but if they can make some internal improvements, they can add a bat or two with that rotation, and you have the best pitcher on the planet. And we've seen teams sneak into the playoffs and go on runs. The Kansas City Royals, who you mentioned.
Not only the Royals, but I'm going to name one other team before we get out of here. People forget the San Francisco Giants.
2010.
Did that. It just happens.
Came out of nowhere.
It just happens.
So I love it, man.
So that's it.
Lenny, I love this, man. I can't thank you enough. I know we're tight on time. You are a good man, and I love having Charlie on the air.
I love having him on as well. Charlie, before I go, I'm going to let you have a final word. I'm going to let Robby have a final word. I'm going to bid you all doing a happy holidays. Is there anything you'd like to say before we get out of here, kind sir?
Let's go Bucks. Let's go Red Sox. V's up. Let's go Cats. Let's go Blue. And let's have a great holiday.
I love it, Charlie. That's Charlie Osborne. Robby, anything before I let you go, kind sir?
I'm honored and flattered to see a guy like Charlie show himself like this on a platform like this, because he is an inspiration to people. You see people that have Down syndrome or have some type of ability. He does not let anything get in the way, and he talks about it openly. He talks about it honestly, and he has helped me helped us and his former school, St. Anthony's School, raise over $100,000 at our last event, and we've done that 6 times now, and Charlie's done it 3 of those 6 with me, and it's really cool. And Lenny, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. Robby and Charlie, thank you for joining me here. Happy holidays, guys.
Thank you, Sandy.
Happy holidays to you, and thank you to everyone else out there listening here on KDKA.
Listen, I'm getting out of here, but I'll be back after the commercial break on the News Radio and award-winning News Radio KDKA.